Thank you for working so hard so I can be home all day, free. I can use my EBT. Go to work for me, white boy, white girl. Yeah, go to work for me, you fucking white animals. Fucking work for me. Yeah, you fucking work for me. And the U.S. government is the they work for me. All of you work for me. Now go to work. Pay them taxes. Take care of me and my people.
Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. They've taken billions and billions of dollars. They have a representative, Ilhan Omar, who they say married her brother. That's a fraud.
And according to the Secretary, Kristi Noem of DHS, she said nearly 50% of the visas are fraudulent in this community. I mean, that would mean that half the Somali refugees are here in some way illegally. What's going to happen? Is something actually going to happen? Are there going to be people stripped of their visas, deported? Are we going to see that?
Absolutely. I mean, those days are over. Thank God President Trump's
back on the show. Trump mentioning the Daily Mail reporting from 2020 that Ilhan Omar married her brother to get into the country. This was last week. Take a listen.
Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. They've taken billions and billions of dollars. They have a representative, Ilhan Omar, who they say married her brother. That's a fraud.
Calls that a fraud. It's a story that has never been successfully refuted, even though it's now a 5-year-old story. That's clearly a deportable offense. Is there an investigation into that?
You know, I just got advised by a fraud investigator the other day on that. I asked the question, who reviewed the file and says, there was immigration fraud involved. The statute of limitation became an issue in the last 4 years when this was first brought up. Who was president? Who ran DOJ? So pulling the records now, pulling the files, and we're looking at, but this fraud investigator, who I know personally, one of the best fraud investigators in HSI, Homeland Security Investigations, said there's no doubt he reviewed the file. So I'm running that down this week, matter of fact, and we'll see.
It's tremendous that, I mean, and according to the Secretary, Kristi Noem of DHS, she said nearly 50% of the visas are fraudulent in this community. I mean, that would mean that half the Somali refugees are here in some way illegally. What's going to happen? Is something actually going to happen? Are there going to be people stripped of their visas, deported? Are we going to see that?
Absolutely. I mean, those days are over. Thank God President Trump's in the White House. We're going to look at all of them. I mean, we're going to look at those here illegally, of course. We're going to look at those here under a visa or some sort of, immigration process that are criminals. We're going to look at the national security threats. But those who came through a process that weren't properly vetted, who didn't provide documentation, who slipped through the Biden's weak processes on, giving visas and temporary, whether student visas or visitors visas or whatever. We're going the whole gamut. President Trump has instructed us go down and we're going to deep dive all of this. And we're going to hold people accountable. So yes, there are going to be multiple deportations coming.
There's so many claims of a racist element to this story, and when we're talking about a certain subsection of refugees into this country. But it bears reminding to people that it wasn't very long ago at all that Americans expected that people that came to our country would contribute to the cause, would assimilate to our culture and to who we are. And we're just not seeing that at all in this community. We're seeing a community that's largely hostile to our culture, wants to bring in an Islamic culture into our nation, while doing so and staying vastly on the dole, on some kind of assistance, taking more than they contribute. Knowing all of that, here's Ilhan Omar on our immigration system under this president and the job that you're doing.
This is certainly not what the founding fathers of the American dream were thinking about when they said, that when they set out to write the Constitution.
What's your reaction to that?
Unlike the Biden administration, we're following the Constitution. We're enforcing the law. We're not ignoring the law. And you're right. The proper, assimilation is important, and it's going to be required. Not only that, when they come here on their legal program, they're required to be self-sufficient. They have to prove they're self-sufficient. So a lot of them, first thing they're doing to get here is get on the public dole. President Trump put his foot down, and like I said earlier, we're doing a deep dive on thousands and thousands of files, and we'll hold people accountable. And you know, I'm so tired of them pulling the race card all the time, you know,
right.
because we're doing this racist. ICE has arrested people from 180 different countries. Europe, Asia, South America.
Every color.
They're not just arresting brown and black people. They're arresting people from all over the world. You know, the immigration enforcement is colorblind. There's one thing that matters to us. Did they follow the immigration law? Are they here legally? Did they break the law once they became here, either illegally or legal? Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So we're following the law. That's all that matters to us. What Title 8 United States Code, Title 18 United States Code, the Immigration Nationality Act, what that says, we're enforcing without apology. That's the way it's supposed to be. As a member of Congress, she should respect that we're enforcing the laws that Congress enacted.
Yeah, and does anybody buy that the founding fathers were trying to set up a welfare state for African refugees in this country? I don't think anybody's believing that argument at all. Our next mayor here in New York, Mamdani, giving out advice on how to evade you.
But we can all stand up to ICE if you know your rights. If you encounter ICE, these are the things that every New Yorker should know. First, ICE cannot enter into private spaces like your home, school, or a private area of your workplace without a judicial warrant signed by a judge. ICE is legally allowed to lie to you, but you have the right to remain silent. If you're being detained, you may always ask, "Am I free to go?" repeatedly until they answer you. You are legally allowed to film ICE as long as you do not interfere with an arrest.
Your thoughts on that?
We know the law better than anybody, and we're going to keep enforcing the law in New York. We're there today. We're there right now doing operations. We'll be there tomorrow. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. We're arresting public safety threats every day. And because we're forced in the community, because places like New York City is a sanctuary jurisdiction, when they force us in the community to find the public safety threat and national security threats, many times they're with others. Others that may not be a public safety threat, but they're in the country legally. Well, guess what? They're coming too. So educate these people all you want. We know the law, and we're going to keep doing what we're doing. We're breaking records every day. Already have historic deportation numbers. Already have an historic secure border. So we're going to keep pushing the Trump agenda, keeping Trump's promise to American people, make this country safe again.
I want you to pay close attention to the first clip we just watched. A man openly bragging about sitting at home on government assistance, mocking the people who go to work every day, mocking the taxpayers who fund the system he's living off of. That clip isn't shocking because it's offensive language. It's shocking because it exposes a mindset that has been enabled for far too long. This isn't about race. It's about respect. It's about fairness. And it's about a system that stopped enforcing the most basic expectation of citizenship and immigration in America, that if you come here, you contribute, you assimilate, and you respect the country that gave you opportunity. That clip didn't come out of nowhere. It's the result of decades of political negligence, weak vetting, no accountability, and leaders who told Americans they weren't allowed to ask questions. Which brings us to what really matters here. Tom Homan's response. Homan didn't sugarcoat anything. He confirmed that immigration fraud investigators are reviewing files, including allegations surrounding Ilhan Omar's immigration history. He made it clear that statute of limitations issues may have protected people in the past, but those excuses are being re-examined now. That matters because no one should be untouchable. Not activists, not politicians, not members of Congress. We've been told for years that asking about alleged marriage fraud or visa abuse was off limits. Ask the question, and you're immediately labeled a bigot. But Homan cut straight through that nonsense. Immigration enforcement is colorblind. The law applies to everyone, or it applies to no one. Another bombshell in this segment was the acknowledgement that a massive percentage of visas in a specific refugee community may be tied to fraud. Nearly half. That's not a talking point. That's a national security issue. If that number is even close to accurate, it represents a catastrophic failure of vetting under past administrations. And here's something the media refuses to say out loud. Immigration only works when people come here to build something, not to mock the people funding their lifestyle. Legal immigrants are required to be self-sufficient. That's not cruelty. That's the law. When sanctuary city politicians encourage people to evade ICE, they aren't protecting communities. They're forcing federal agents into neighborhoods to do jobs that could have been handled responsibly through cooperation. And when ICE encounters others during those operations, that's the direct result of local leaders refusing to uphold the law. Homan made another crucial point that deserves attention. Assimilation is not optional. The idea that America must bend, apologize, and subsidize forever while being openly disrespected is exactly why public trust has collapsed. This is what a return to the rule of law looks like. Enforcing immigration statutes as written, reviewing fraudulent entries, holding everyone to the same standard, and refusing to back down because someone cries racism to avoid accountability. If Ilhan Omar followed the law, she has nothing to fear. But if fraud occurred, her position in Congress does not grant immunity. Equality under the law means exactly that. The man in that viral clip laughed at working Americans. But the joke is over. Tell me what you think in the comments. Do you believe real accountability is finally coming, or will the system protect its own again? Like the video, subscribe to Capital Truthline, and I'll see you in the next one.